I'm not one of those guys that wants to juggle more than one woman, definitely not 100. I'm Rob, JTR Anime Newb on YouTube. JTR stands for Jesta ThaRogue, which is my name on Twitch and social media. On this channel I learn about and review anime with minor spoilers, but I don't go too deep on the plot or spoil the ending or any plot twists. This time I'm looking at the 100 girlfriends who really love you. It's a very simple plot, if not a bit weird. We meet our main character who's been rejected by girls 100 times in middle school, so he prays to a love god who he meets and speaks to, and the love god said that they made a mistake that didn't give him a soulmate. So in high school, he's going to find 100 soulmates, but if they reject him, or they reject each other, they'll have an accident and die. So the whole plot of the series is this main character balancing all these women, trying to keep them all together and keep them all happy. The world it's set in is pretty much present day real world. We follow the story through internal monologues and a very funny narrator. I love the narrator in this show. There's also a lot of fourth wall breaking as well, which I thought was quite cool. I might get the pronunciation of these names wrong because it's been a couple of weeks since I watched it, but our main character is called Rentaro. You know, people say he's not bad looking and he's really nice and everybody seems to like him, but obviously girls reject him because he hasn't been given a soulmate by the gods. That's the only reason he's not getting a girl, but it's all he wants is to be in a relationship. And that's probably a bit too much to ask for now. I bet he's regretting it slightly. We have Hikari, who's one of the initial two girls he meets, who's very sweet. She's very nice, very quiet, also very clever, but internally when you hear her thoughts, she is a bit perverse and a bit horny, so there's that. And the other one we meet, the second girl we meet of the initial two, is Karane, who is just a bit of an angry psychopath, shouts a lot to a point of screeching, and it gets a bit annoying. And I'm just going to quickly cover the other three girls that he meets in this season 1. So there's Shizuka, who's really shy and talks by pointing at paragraphs in books. She doesn't speak verbally, she just points to the words she wants you to read in books. This AI is very clever, to the point, very robotic and very efficient. And then there's Yakuzen, who is a scientist and likes to make drugs and drinks them without consequences and forces them on others, and often turns into an 8-year-old girl, which makes the whole relationship thing very weird. So as for fan service and mature content, there is a lot of groping and kissing. There's not really much too sexualised, but there is a lot of touching, a lot of kissing. Hikari's overly sized breasts and short skirt is a bit much, especially when she uses her breasts as a weapon at one point. She swings them around and knocks somebody over. I don't need to see things like that. It's not the sort of thing I want to watch. There's lots of pervy moments like that. And as I mentioned, he does have this crush on one of the girls who is his soulmate, so it's not really his fault, but she turns into an 8-year-old. She's not really 8 years old, but she turns into an 8-year-old because of the drugs that she's made in the science lab. So yeah, that's all a bit weird. Now I know this is only my 5th review, but the animation in it is very fun. There's lots of over-exaggerated moments, lots of ways where they're bringing in different elements and bringing up different characters and emojis and things to express what's happening in the show, and it's all very fun, and I really enjoy the animation for this one. I also really enjoy the voice acting. Everyone is really quirky and has their own personality. Rentaro, he switches between being very exaggerated, either very angry or very embarrassed or very shocked, and then he just goes back to being very calm and very normal very quickly. Karane is often turned up to 11. Like I said, she often squeals sometimes. Hikari is very quiet, very cute, very softly spoken. AI is very serious and to the point. Accusing end sentences saying yep, which is another reason I don't like her. And as I mentioned before, Shizuka doesn't talk at all. So the community reception for this is rated 4.8 from 26.9 thousand reviews on Crunchyroll. It's rated 7.3 from 1,200 reviews on IMDb. And the main thing that people say about this is they love the humour, and I have to agree with that. It is very funny. Well, you know, I think it's funny, but what else do I think about this show? Well, the premise is fun. I really like the premise. The reason I started watching it was because of the premise. Shizuka and AI's backstories were very moving, very emotional, but apart from that, most of it is very funny. The narrator is really funny, as I've mentioned before. The fourth wall breaking is great, but it's not obnoxious. They don't do it too often. It's not like in your face. They're not talking to you directly too much, which is good. One of the characters talks about having his lines cut from the manga, which I found very funny. But as I also mentioned, I'm not a fan of the overly large boobs and short skirts and the sexy content. I always think, what if somebody was watching this over my shoulder, what would they think? And I know what they would think, and it wouldn't be very positive. So my favourite episode is episode number 2, called First Kiss. And in this episode, the main character and the two first soulmates that he meets have got together, and they're trying to work out a way to have the first kiss with each other, but without anyone knowing who the first kiss was with, and it's quite funny the way they try and work it out. It actually comes up with a very good system. It just trying to get it to work is the problem, and it all, you know, they start with this plan and they try to get it to work with hilarious consequences. It doesn't quite go right, but it's really, really fun. Definitely, if you're not sure about this show, watch the first 2 episodes and see what you think, because I think the second one will get you hooked in. So my favourite character, you would think from previous favourite characters that it would be Hikari, because that's the kind of character that I like. But on this occasion, because she is so squealy and so squeaky and a bit overly aggressive without being fun in any way, my favourite character is actually the main character, Rentaro. He's just a really nice guy. He's doing his best. He really cares. He's just a genuinely really nice guy who's got a tough problem and he's trying to get through it, and I just really appreciate that. So our rating, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 4-leaf clovers because it is good fun, but I'm going to take half a 4-leaf clover off it for being a bit too pervy. As I said, if somebody is stood behind me watching this, what will they think? That's what I'm always thinking when I'm looking at this, and it's just a bit too much on the sexy side. And the word of the month is a word that I learnt while reading about this show. It's tsundere, which is a Japanese term for a character development process that depicts a character with an initially harsh personality who gradually reveals a warmer and friendlier side over time. But the second meaning is the reason that it's the word of the month for this show. Because of Hikari, it's someone who has a competitive attitude towards others, but is also kind on the inside, and she just doesn't show it very early on. She's just very obnoxious. But that is the word of the month, and that is the 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love me. Have you seen the show? What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have any suggestions based on my thoughts on this show, if there's anything you think I'd like, let me know and I'll try and watch it, especially if it's on Crunchyroll and dubbed. That's important. I have to watch them dubbed, unfortunately. Although I am learning Japanese, so I will watch subbed at some point. Remember to like, share and subscribe. I am at Jesta ThaRogue on all socials, so you can find me on there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.